So you got women out here with this really toxic mentality. And a lot of men are just getting turned off by the toxic mentality. But I want you to hear this craziness from this woman. Let's review it.
So men don't like me. They like to look at me. But once I start talking, it's a different story.
Oh, boy. Listen. Sister, listen. What you just said was a mouthful. They like to look at you, but when you start talking, they don't want to be with you. That goes to show you what I told you, ladies and gentlemen, especially you brothers. They do all this work on the outside. They spend money on plastic surgery on the outside. And everything look good on the outside. They put the witchcraft on their face. They love putting that witchcraft on their face. And then when you really get to know the real them, you don't want to be around them. And I'm going to tell you what, it's a lot of them like that too. Like, can you just not talk? Because, listen, you just smile. You'll be okay. But let's continue.
So what do? I continue talking.
Of course. We know.
This is about a tweet that I didn't think would get the response that it did, but it did, so I'm going to talk about it. The tweet was really simple. If a man believes that you'll never leave him, that means it's time for you to leave him. And I mean that. Immediately, don't wait, start planning your escape. And I'm going to be honest, while I am in a safe space now, your girl was toxic before. I didn't know that this was toxic. I just thought that this was how it goes because everything that I learned about dating was from men.
No, you didn't. Because men is not the ones that's trying to leave their marriages, for one. Most men not even trying to leave their relationships too much. Men will actually stick with it longer. Actually, women is the first one that want to bail on a relationship based on statistics. So you definitely learn that from no men, because men don't feel like that. They have never talked like that. Come on, what man do you know say, hey, if she feels like, I'm not going to leave, then I want to leave. Men don't talk like that.
I was taught about dating and got to watch it firsthand. So I didn't fall for a lot of the bullshit that was sold to women. I fell for some of it, but not all of it. So whether or not some of my...
That's funny. So you say you didn't fall for it, and then the next sentence you say, well, you fell for some of it. So that means you fell for it.
I guess dating rules are still toxic. It's debatable, but you can debate that with your mama. But my number one dating rule was so crazy. This is my number one dating rule. Never let them get too comfortable. Now, I want you to be comfortable enough with me if we're in a healthy relationship so that you can tell me anything. That level of comfort is wonderful. Never get too comfortable that you feel like I'm not leaving. Never believe that I don't have options. Never believe that we have kids, so I'm staying. We're married, so I'm staying. I've invested so much time and money. We live together, so I'm staying. None of it. And it's going to piss some people off, but...
So basically what you're saying is, and this is what a lot of men, why they don't want to commit to a lot of y'all, is because you don't respect relationships. You don't respect it. Because what you just mentioned about having children, hey, we need to stay together and work our problems out because we got children. We need to raise these kids together, right? We married. We made commitment. We made vows to God and before our respective families that we're going to stick together and with sickness, health, and whatever problems that we got to go through, we're going to do this. So basically, according to you, is if a person feels comfortable enough, you just want to bail on a relationship. Even if you're married, you just want to bail. Why would a man get comfortable with you enough to tell you anything? Why would people that we're not comfortable with, we don't tell anything to? See, ma'am, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't. Let's continue.
Y'all not dating me. It's real strict over here. And this is for my girls who are very, I don't want to say nonchalant, but very laid back in their relationships. I love with the really loose grip. You are your own person. I'm not flipping out on nothing because it's all in your character. How you act is in your character. So if it's in your character, on your spirit to be a cheater, you're going to be a cheater. What is me crying and freaking out about it going to do? Nothing. Now that part is usually fine until they realize that this doesn't have to be my reality. I don't have to stay here. I don't have to be here while you do whatever it is that you want to do. Never be so scared to lose somebody that you let them treat you any kind of way. And no, you can't control what somebody else does, but you can control if they have access to you or not. So cut them off.
And you wonder, once again, why men get turned off by you the moment you open your mouth. Just what you said in this video. Oh boy, I tell you, sometimes the commentaries just really just write themselves before I even get started with them, right? This is why, and any man you're dealing with now, if he hear you even talking like this, he would leave you too. If you a man with you now, he's a freaking simp. Why would you be with a woman that can't commit to anything or don't want to commit to anything? Why? See, men, this is why a lot of you have gotten so tired of this modern woman and her toxicity, because the toxicity in relationships is just through the roof. And the toxicity a lot of times is game playing. Like you say, you go buy a toy and play with. You don't play with a man. But this is why the men really don't want to fool with her like that. It's because of everything that come out of her mouth. And then she be the same one later calling men dusties online, making a podcast or something, talking about how horrible the men is. But you're not talking about how you didn't commit to no. And usually they get real angry when they hit the wall and realize all the mistakes they made and all the men that probably wanted to be what they behind. But yeah, fellas, she say that if you get comfortable with her, she gonna leave you. And this is why a real man that would love you is gonna elude you, because people are human beings, and you should want somebody to feel like, hey, they not going nowhere. Now, I understand what somebody would say. Well, she could be meaning like, well, if they treat her any kind of way, they want him to feel like they can't leave. That's not what she's talking about. She didn't say that. She just said in general. So we're going to go exactly what she's talking about, which is a bunch of BS.